achieve a better work-life balance? Do you find yourself struggling to keep up with what's going on at work and at home, and in essence find yourself feeling like you're failing at both? If so, by the end of this video, you're going to have a little relief. First, we're going to uncover the 2 lies you've been told that have kept you from feeling balanced at work and at home. We're going to highlight the things that you need to say to your work and home family to establish boundaries so that you get more done. And then lastly, you're going to gain tactics that you can immediately start to use to get more done at work and at home, and maybe even have a little bit more off time. You ready to get started? Let's go. I mentioned that we're going to go over 2 big lies that you have been told. So the first lie is, you ready? Work-life balance. There is absolutely no such thing as work-life balance, and I don't know anyone who's ever said that they've achieved work-life balance who wasn't an expert and paid to talk about work-life balance. It is not normal, it is not achievable in this one sense. If you think about balance, meaning 2 things being in equal amounts, that's not how life works. There are times where you have more assignments at work. Maybe you're going through some type of major transition or change. It requires a little bit more of your energy. You only have 24 hours in a day. You only have so many calories in your body in a day. So if you're doing more at work, it's going to take from home at the same time. I don't know if you've ever been a new parent, or maybe you've had to deal with your own parents having health issues or other things that are going on around the house. But as those things start to occur, whether our bosses or peers or business partners want to hear it, more attention goes to home and less goes to work. And so the notion that we should always be giving a perfect equal amount in both places is not just patently false, it's ridiculous. So we want to throw that out the window. We want to have a more harmonic way of living. And when you think about harmonies, things are balanced in the sense that they sound right together. But there are times where one instrument's louder, another one's softer. There's this interesting swaying effect. That's what we're aiming for. At the end of the day, we're aiming to feel like we're doing a good job. We're getting things done. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but we know that we are servicing who we're supposed to service at work, and we're servicing who we're supposed to service at home. So first big lie we're getting rid of is work-life balance. It's an unachievable goal. It'll make us really, really depressed trying to achieve a goal that is not possible. The second lie is going to be a little bit sensitive for some of you, but hang in there, and that is the lie that you can have it all. You cannot. Now, as a woman, I'm going to share this because I tend to hear women talk about this a little bit more, where they're like, okay, I'm going to have this incredible career where I achieve all of these things, and I'm going to be this incredible mom who never misses a game, and I'm going to be active in my community and do all of these things. At the end of the day, you can't be everything to everyone. No one has enough time to perfectly do all these things. I've known a lot of incredible, incredible women, and I don't know any that are able to do it all. I don't know any men that are able to do all of it as well, but typically, and we won't even get into this one, the societal pressures around men are a little bit different. But if men were taking on this exact same balance, and some of them are, there's single dads out there that have full custody of their children, they can't make their way up the corporate ladder at the highest speed and never miss anything with their children and be active in community and faith-based efforts to the largest extent as well. We only have so much time. I'm actually going to give you a third bonus lie in a way, and that is that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. That is a patent lie. That is not true. If you think about someone who maybe, let's look at a Beyonce, because I've seen this meme floating around the internet where it says, you know, we all have the same 24 hours in a day like Beyonce, but look what she does with it. That is not accurate. Beyonce hires thousands of people to work for her. At any one point in time, she probably has a few hundred people working for her. And so when you're leveraging other people's labor, you have more hours. For instance, me, I have a cleaning service for my house. I get my clothes laundered because I'm on the road so much, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that I outsource. I do food delivery. Sometimes I bring in people to do things around my house, set up things, carry heavy things around. The person who does my lawn. When you think about all the hours that I'm paying people to give me, I don't just have my 24 hours. I have the 6 hours that they're dedicating to me that I save in a day. So now I have a 30-hour day. I've done 30 hours worth of work, even though I personally only have 24. So I want you to let go of that one too, so that we're not comparing ourselves to other people, that actually do have more hours in the day. Of all the videos that I've done, this is probably going to be the one that touches the most nerves. And so just keep working with me. But when we talk about work-life balance, which we said isn't necessarily the goal, maybe work-life harmony, it's going to take us doing some things that maybe we haven't done before. So we've just given up 3 big lies that have probably kept us feeling guilty or like underachievers. The next thing that we want to take a look at is boundary setting. Now, if you're someone who has always set boundaries or been very good at it for a few years, this isn't a big deal to you. If you're somebody that tends to be a little bit more of a people pleaser, you fear confrontation, you just want people to like you, this is going to be a little bit harder. So I have no judgment whatsoever. I just want to encourage you to know that the more you set boundaries, the more you'll be able to help people. So when we talk about setting boundaries, if we want to get more done in work or home or feel like we're getting the things that we need to get done, we need to set boundaries. So for instance, at work, that is working hours. Now, I know we don't all have the same careers, we don't all work for the same companies, but we've seen countries like, for instance, France, where they say that you send people emails and text messages within a certain period of time. If you require employees to work outside of that, now we have a legal problem, right? And so the reason why they're doing that is because people need to have time to reset, spend time on things at home. And so making sure that you're setting boundaries at work, whatever that looks like for you. We don't all have the same boundaries because we don't all have the same work schedules. We don't even all have the same work environment. Some people work from home, some people work inside of factories. But whatever that boundary needs to be so that you still have something left over for others, go ahead and set that. And it might be based on industry norms. So I'm not asking you to be unreasonable, but what I am asking is that you not allow yourself to be taken advantage of past what is standard for your position and your industry. The next piece is setting boundaries at home. Oh, this became a highlight for me during the pandemic because I watched how many of my friends that were women that had children at home who were being homeschooled, or they were doing the virtual school because the schools were virtual at that time. And they were at home, their husbands were at home, and the children were at home. And inevitably, I would say at least 9 out of 10 of these women, the children were constantly coming in, asking them questions while they're trying to work. The husband's off doing his own thing. No one's bothering him. So setting boundaries with the entire family, letting them know, maybe if you have another mate, I take care of the kids, or kids can come to me with questions on these days of the week during working hours. These other days are your days. If you have older children, those people, they're old enough to know better than to come knock on the door and ask you questions while you're on the toilet, but they still do it anyways. Setting boundaries with them. Do not come in my office at this time, or do not call me at work during this work time unless it's an emergency, or unless it's this or that. Setting those boundaries, sticking with those boundaries, no matter what the feedback is. So that's the important thing. We have to train people how to treat us. So for instance, in the case of the teenager that's knocking on the door, after you told them not to knock on the door. And mind you, this is not an example of the work-life balance. I mean, I guess in a way it is for your own downtime, but just giving you an idea. The optimal thing to do would be just to ignore the teenager, not even to respond back, not even to remind them of that you already set the boundary, that it's inappropriate, but just not to respond. If you're getting text messages from a peer and it's not an emergency, just not responding until the next day. It's literally enacting what you've already said would occur without having to have a lot of great back and forth. People tend to respond with us reinforcing our boundaries verbally with argument, versus if we've already told them 2 or 3 times, silence is a great way to show them that we're serious. It may not be easy for everyone, but I assure you, if you manage to get this down, it'll actually make life in general a lot easier. The next thing you want to consider is delegating and outsourcing. All that means is that you don't have to do all the things that you're doing. There are probably other people that can. If we do not have enough hours in a day to get a thing done, putting those things in a different order is not going to help us. The only thing we can do is push things off our plate. I actually have quite a few videos on delegation and outsourcing. And so if you need more information on that, just take a moment and look around and watch some of those videos. Those are actually some of my favorite that have the most commentary, because it's something that we all have to deal with. So take a moment, go ahead and check out those videos, and then come back here. These last few suggestions are a little bit more light. I know the first few were heavy because I was basically calling people who taught you things liars and talking about setting boundaries and being silent with people. So it might have felt a little harsh, so we're gonna end this on a lighter note. One of the things that I suggest for greater work-life harmony is micro resets. So that might be that maybe you plan time in your day, maybe 15 minutes to take a little break, go out and walk. For me, especially during the pandemic, I used to actually schedule dance breaks. And so once during the day for about 20 minutes, it would pop up on my calendar and I'd turn on a song and I'd learn a new dance. I'm on YouTube just dancing, just getting the movement going. Sometimes now I'll actually set a timer so that I'll stop for about 10 to 15 minutes and then just work on a puzzle, a physical jigsaw puzzle. Because what I notice is when I come back from that, my mind is sharper. So oftentimes we think when we take breaks, it's wasting time. But that really depends on how you look at it. Because for me, I get more done when I take breaks because my thinking is much more acute when I return. I'm more productive when I return, much more productive than the time I spent on that break. So I get more done. It more than makes up for the time that I take off. I mentioned jigsaw puzzles, and it's not quite this next point, but kind of in alignment. Make sure that you have some passion projects that renew you. Maybe there's things that you do around the house. Maybe you enjoy gardening. Maybe you enjoy building. Maybe you enjoy volunteering with Habitat for the Humanity. Now, we want to balance these things out because what we don't want to do is we don't want our renewal exercises to become other things that we're obligated to do. And some charitable efforts that we make will actually turn into another job or another task. So find things that renew you and don't make you feel tired at the end. And my last point is this. When we think about work and we think about home, I gave you a few light things. We started off heavy. I'm going to end with something that may be jaw-dropping. I don't know. But I want you to remember something. If you do not like something in your arrangement at work or home, if something's not working for you and you know there's no way that you can have harmony in those two places, this is your opportunity to change it. You do have choices. Keep in mind that the only thing that we have to do in life is be born and die. Those are the only two things. Right now, you could run away from home and change your name. You could start a whole new career. You could quit your job. Now, you might be saying, oh my gosh, Crystal, I have children, I have a mate, I can't go. You actually could. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should. I'm going to be very clear. Don't you tell your mate Crystal told you to leave them. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that we do have the option to do whatever we want in life. We also have the option to suffer the consequences. So maybe quitting your job would mean that you're living off of peanut butter and jelly for 3 months until you finish some training within Google or within Amazon that'll prepare you for a role in their company. So it doesn't mean that all of our choices will result in immediate gratification, but understand that everything that we're doing is a choice. Everyone that we choose to spend our time with is a choice. All the people we choose to have in our home, if we're the ones supporting financially, it is a choice. Where we go to work is a choice. I'm someone that in corporate America, I worked in a very interesting environment once upon a time, and I quit my job, much to the chagrin and shock of people around me. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, but it did result in short-term discomfort for a few months. And so just keep in mind that you have all the choices you need. There's nothing in your life right now that you have to do. Absolutely nothing. The only thing you have to do is eventually die. And so while that might seem a little strange to say, I hope that empowers you so that as you're looking at this work-life harmony, you get to design what that looks like. It's your choice. Speaking of designing things for the future, if you want to be super strategic about what you're doing in the future, I want you to notice that in the description of this video, there's a link for a Future Ready Playbook. This is a playbook that I designed just for you so that you could be more strategic in how you're planning now so that you have better future outcomes, whether we're talking about your personal life, your professional life, or if you're a business owner, the life of your business. So if you haven't already downloaded it, go ahead and download it right now.